Hello everyone, welcome back guys. Hope you all are doing well. This is Mohammad Badrudduja and today we are going to solve lab number 2 from the race conditions vulnerability in web application. So today we are going to bypass the rate limit via race conditions. And before going further, this little disclaimer as always, this video and its content are only for educational and awareness purpose and I do not support any unethical or illegal act. And if you did not follow the channel up to now, please follow, and if you like the content, like, subscribe and share. So without wasting time, as I said, bypassing the rate limits via race conditions, and we will see the condition now. This lab's login mechanism uses rate limiting to defend against brute force attacks. However, this can be bypassed due to race condition. So to solve the lab, make sure this one is important. So the rate limiting is on login mechanism. That means there should be some specific amount of request you can make for a login attempt, like 5 times or 10 times you can try login, and if you are unsuccessful, then the application is going to block you, or maybe block your action or block the user for certain amount of time. So to solve the lab, what we need to do, the first point is work out how to exploit the race condition to bypass the rate limit. Okay, successfully brute force the password for the Carlos user, login and access the admin panel and delete the Carlos user. Fine. And we have a valid user credential, username is Wiener and the password is Peter. So that's it. And let's go. We see what this lab is all about. So back to the Mozilla Firefox, and one more thing I want to mention here, that this lab is only for 15 minutes, and if you are unsuccessful you need to reload the lab, right? So we need to do it much faster. So without wasting time, I'm just going to enable the burp proxy on my browser and going to click my account. Fine, so we have user Wiener and the password is Peter, but deliberately I'm going to just type a weak password or a wrong password to see the functionality of the application. Okay, invalid username and password. Again, I'm going to try Wiener user and the password 123456 and login again. And again, invalid username and password. Again, I'm going to try, let's say AASSDDFF, hit enter, don't save. Invalid username and password. Okay, anything. And as you can see, in the 4th login attempt we have a message now: you have made too many incorrect login attempts, please try again in 51 seconds. Fine, that means this user is logged out. Now let's try another user, let's say test user and the password 123456, hit enter. And there is something else, and this is interesting because you know that the message is changed and it's saying invalid username and password, but if we log into Wiener user with the wrong password, you can see again we will get you have made too many incorrect login attempts. That means whenever we are going to exceed the rate limit of login attempts, it is going to lock out the user, the specific user, not all the users, not for all the users, because as you can see, if I try test, it is going to give me invalid username and password. That means the specific user is going to be logged out if the login attempt exceeds the limit. Fine, so what I'm going to do, go back to the burp proxy and I'm going to take this login attempt for the test user, and I'm going to send it multiple times to the repeater, and I'm going to use the shortcut control R. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, and go to the repeater, and here we have the same request again and again. Okay, so there is a thing. We need to find out first of all the race window, as I mentioned in the previous lab. So there are two things. First is login attempt, and the second thing, when we do login attempt, the server is actually count that login attempts. So server counts login attempts. Okay, so between this, when we do login attempt, okay, first of all server checks that how many login attempts are there. Okay, and then after this it is going to submit the request. That's it. I'm going to create a group here. Let's say brute force attempts or login attempts, whatever you are comfortable with. You can give the name. Okay, all the requests I'm going to add in this group. Okay, any color you can choose. Now I'm going to send all of these requests in parallel as a single packet attack and send this. So as you can see, if we see the response closely, there is invalid username and password, right? So I'm going to copy to match everything. So in the first request we found invalid username and password. In the second response, let's see what we got. You have made too many login attempts. Okay, in the third request the same. In the fourth request you can see invalid username and password. In the fifth request again invalid username and password. Sixth there is no. Seventh no. Okay, let's try one more time. So and still it's not completed actually. Let's see, in the 20th request it is still no. Change this. Let's try another user, Wiener or Wiener1, anything. Send this again. What was the problem? Okay, because in rest of the tabs there is a test user. Okay, here we only changed the name in one. Which was that request? There is no. Okay, so 8th cancel. What I'm going to do, I'm going to close this group, all tabs, back to the proxy and back to the browser, my account page again, and try to log in test user one more time. Okay, and back to what's that, make too many login attempts. Fine, let's say test 2. Okay, so this time we are just looking for the race window, if there is race window and if we can exploit or bypass the rate limit or not. Okay, I'm going to send this request to the repeater. So Control R, okay, go to the repeater. Again I'm going to create a tab, brute force, create, and send in single packet parallel attack. Now send this and hope for the best. Invalid, you have made too many attempts. Okay, in the first 21 invalid username and password. In the second tab, in the second response we found invalid username and password. In the third response again we get invalid username and password. In the fourth response again we get invalid name and password. In the fifth response we again get invalid username and password, and that means there is a race condition, there is a race window. We successfully bypass the rate limit by using the race condition. So that means here, as you can see, we already try one attempt on the browser, and we tried here, you can see up to the 5 or maybe here more, but we get invalid username and password. Also, the legitimate behavior should be, it should only allow us for 3 times. Okay, so now what we need to do, we again go to my account, and again I am going to try, let's say, test 3, and the username and password like this, and I'm going back here, close this group, all of this group, and what I'm going to do here, go to the proxy, and this was the login attempt, because the CSRF token gets changed every time. So I'm going to send this request to the repeater here in the repeater, and I'm going to choose this password, and then right click, extensions, Turbo Intruder, and then send this request to the Turbo Intruder. And as you can see here, because we need to brute force the user Carlos, and this is the argument. Okay, and here what we need to do is passwords, and the passwords are going to be from wordlist dot clipboard. Okay, BOARD board, and here instead of I, for P in passwords, and here we need to specify the P to choose the password from the list every time, and gate, we need to open gate engine 1. Fine, everything seems perfect. And now for the password, I'm using this, so that must be copied. Why? Because here in the Turbo Intruder you said the passwords are going to be the word list which you have in your clipboard. So just now attack. Okay, and as you can see, all of these requests are 200. That means the request is processed. Okay, but the message here is going to be invalid username and password. There are 400 requests. Let's see if there is any 302 requests there or not. 400, there is 302. 302, that means this is the password, master. Okay, so master is the password. One thing I want to mention here, which I forgot, because I used last time this code, okay, this template. So once I send the request to the intruder, it directly give me this. But for you, you need to choose this scroll bar, and you have to go all the way down and choose the race single packet attack by. Fine, this template you need to choose. Okay, so before anything, I'm just going to log in first, because there is only 1 minute left. So Carlos, and the password is master. Login, don't save. Okay, I was afraid of this. So make sure you just refresh the page one more time, and again Carlos, and the password was master, and login. And you can see we logged in successfully. Here is the admin panel. Just click on admin panel and delete the Carlos account to solve the lab. Okay, and we solved the lab. Wonderful. Now what I was telling you is, when you send when you use the extension, and when you send the request to the Turbo Intruder, okay, you need to choose the template from here, because by default you may not get the same template. So you have to choose the template here, which is raise single packet attack. Okay, now in Turbo Intruder there are a lot of templates, and within that templates, or behind that templates, the burp suite contains too many Python classes, and they just call here the classes and the methods, definition methods, right? And word list we can define here by saying passwords is equal to word list dot clipboard. This is what you have, a word list, and you can simply copy that word list in the clipboard. Okay, so whatever you have in the clipboard, it will apply that. And here for password, for P in the password, not in the range. Okay, passwords from this list. From this list, it is going to choose one by one every password. And now here in the engine.queue, in the queue, we have target.request. Target.request means here .req, it is again a definition or a method is already created somewhere within the directories of Turbo Intruder or within the burp suite. So it's just calling that function here, request. Now you need to just make a few specific changes here, like you have to specify your p word which you choose from the list of the passwords, and the gate, it is going to be 1. And again, now here they already made comments, you can easily understand what this is all about. So the gate argument withholds the final byte of each request until open gate is invoked. You are going to choose 1 here, concurrent connection is 1, and once every you can say every race 1, which is 1 here, so tagged request has been queued. All the request it is going to queue, and it is going to invoke it whenever this is going to call. So it is going to call 1 or whatever to send them in sync. So it is going to queue everything and then it is going to send it. Fine. And here again, it is going to see handle a response, what you got from the request, that means from this target.request, and table adds, so whatever table you get after you click that button, attack. So that's it for this video. Hope you like the content. I'm going to see you in the next video. Bye.